Hello, good day, and welcome to this tutorial video. Now, the subject today will be our fence calculator. When I make mention of a fence, I'm talking about a fence that's made by traditional construction means, that is blocks, cement, sand, and stone, and concrete. Now, upon clicking the calculator tab, you're going to be required to add some info, some of which you are either going to have to go on the site to measure, or you can get from a survey report. Now, as an example, we can use this property and we can just specify different boundaries. Now, one thing to note is whenever you're using a fence calculator, you want to use a side of a fence for each time you're generating costs. It is not advisable to add up several sides together and then do a calculation. So if we are going to use this side, which is say 9.145 meters, we are going to have to convert that into feet. Now, in dividing, in this case, equal 9.145, and we are going to divide that by 0.3048, and that would be saying that that is pretty much about 30 feet. Now, one of the questions that I skipped over was question one here, sorry, and it is to specify what kind of blocks we are using. In this case, we are going to go with a 6-inch block. That's going to run the 30 feet. And then we have to consider things like this height of the wall from the foundation. That is from below ground to the top of the wall. What is the height that we are looking at? So in this case, let us say we are using an overall of say 8 feet, which is 2 feet below ground and 6 feet above ground. Separate and apart from that, we are going to have to answer these additional questions. Question 4 is going to ask whether we are using stiffeners or columns. The difference for us is that the stiffeners are going to be flat and the columns will be projected similar to what is seen in this image. So for this, we can select stiffeners. The other question, question 5, is asking about the spacing of the stiffener or column that has been selected. So in this case, out of the 30 feet, let us say I am going to say the spacing will be about 8 feet. Apart from that, number 6 is asking, will the wall have intermediate built-in? This picture is the ideal representation of this. So in this, we have something that looks like a small built-in or a cap, but there's an intermediate built-in. So there's something that's midway between the foundation and the top. Number 7 is asking about the top built-in. I can go back to the picture again. Let us say we are going to have a built-in on top of that. So let us say that's yes again. Question 8 is asking about how many sides of the wall will be finished. Now, if I am going to do a cross-reference for a wall similar to this, and I'm doing a comparison, and the wall is unfinished, I would say maybe none in this scenario because it is not rough cast or rendered. The other thing to come in, will the wall be painted? If it's not rough cast and rendered, let us say it's not going to be painted either. So that's no. And then number 10 would be asking the scope of the work. And in this case, I'm going to say it's a material and labor estimate I'm doing. Number 11 is asking, will a contractor be hired? Let us say I use yes in this scenario. And it's going to also ask about the soil types. In this case, I'm using milestone. It's going to ask about the topography of the land. I'm saying that the land is flat. Number 14 is asking the type of wall, and in this case, we are saying it's an independent wall because it stands alone. And the final question will be, will the work area needs preparation? That means, is the area where the wall going to be built already prepped? In other words, it's cut down, it's clean, or it's a case where it's bushed up and you're going to have to use equipment to clean it. And in this case, I am going to say, yes, it is already prepared. Upon adding these 15 answers, I can go to the cost area and have an idea of what it would cost to build a wall at the back of this fence. So in this case, it is saying $587,337.28. And that is based on the conditions. Always remember the conditions under which a quotation is given. And I always advise to either screen print or copy this image as best as possible to ensure that you are clear with a customer when you present a cost. Because in Jamaica, what you can do is you can say to people that you are giving a cost and it is misrepresented by a statement that says, we did things, say you did not include this and you did not include that. So this is quick and easy. You can do this for several other walls. I can record this cost in an Excel. So for instance, if I'm doing a full presentation for doing a fence for right around the property, I could use this number to clearly specify my cost in one scenario, and then I could use the same conditions and just change the length. So I can go back to the drawing here and look at this other measurement that's in 22.266, and I would not need to change any of the conditions. I would just need to change the length. And upon adding that, the conditions are already set. I could put in the other cost and say this is $1.4 million for the sidewall. And after that, I could do the front wall and consider that there's going to be a gate. I could go in the conditions and I could put in this measurement 9.144. And then I would just need to just put this in a bracket and subtract 10 feet from it to ensure that I represent the reduced measurement. So in this case, I would have 20 feet and I would also have a cost generated that is saying $396,000. So overall, the presentation, if you were in this case working or giving a quote to a customer, what you could easily do is represent your cost in this way. So it gives clarity versus you just coming up and saying, we are charging $2.3 million and it sounds exuberant. You also have the ability with the condition to change the scope to something like labor only and have a different cost represented to construct the wall and do other work. But that is where I'm going to leave it for today. Hope you have a great day and enjoy using this calculator. Take care.